Hello, everybody. Welcome to SeahawkTalk and Ethos Seahawks. Here we're joined with special guest Candace from Ethos Seahawks. How's it going?
It's going great, man. I'm glad to be back on the show. Always fun to talk Seahawks football with you.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? It feels like it's been a little bit. I think we talked after the first preseason game. We were supposed to talk before this one, and then I messed that all up. That was my fault. Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't even remember much from the Cowboys game, other than if you want to get right into it. I mean, I
Eh,
remember Mafe looked awesome. That's
yeah, I'm off right.
that's my new guy right there because of the Cowboys game.
He's incredible, and if he does anything close to what he looked like in that Cowboys game, man, are we in for a fun season? But man, I'm trying to go back too. I'm like, what were some of the takeaways? I mean, it was a fun game for sure. Um, I think it was really more of a defensive game. That's a game Locke got hurt, right? Like he only played
I
the
think
first couple
I think
quarters.
so. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember barely any of the second half. I was like groggy in and out, writing notes after I got home. So I don't know. I remember Michael Jackson did not look good. I mean, he looked, I guess we can kind of compare it. He didn't look great against the Packers either, but he didn't look as god awful as he did against the Cowboys. Like that touchdown he gave up against the Packers. I have like two different notepads right next to me right now. So, um, that touchdown he gave up against the Packers, at least it was still good coverage that he had, right? And it was their number one receiver and their number one quarterback throwing that number one receiver the ball.
Right.
So let him slide a little bit on that. I noticed he was playing on the right side during the Packers game, so I thought that was a little odd. Um, I didn't know.
It is interesting that they moved him because then that begs the question: did Trey Brown take his place? He basically was playing the side as a backup to Tariq Woolen, essentially, while Trey Brown was kind of what would be the open starting spot right now. Did that game help him lose ground? I don't know. In my mind, it did, and I don't know if Pete Carroll and his initial comments in the press conference following the Cowboys game, he was kind of he wasn't too harsh on Mike Jackson. He's like, okay, he got caught up in one, but he was kind of gracious. He thought he overall still did pretty well. Maybe he went back and looked at the film and saw it was pretty bad. I don't know, but he ended up getting moved for that Packers game, and personally, it's just the preseason. So generally, I'm
Yeah.
not super high on saying, okay, the preseason dictates the opinion, but at a position that's that stacked, when it's that competitive, I think the preseason does gotta go far. And while I don't think they're gonna start Trey Brown, I think they'll probably still stick with Mike Jacks because he's the kind of the incumbent guy.
I
If it
believe
were
so too.
me, I'd move on. I'd move on to Trey, see what he can do for you, wait for him to mess up, and then plug in Mike Jackson. Because while we all give credit for Michael Jackson doing well, solid last year, there were a lot of times when those same situations happened where maybe he was in the right spot, but the guy continues to get completions on him
Yeah,
over
there was
and
there was
over.
one play on against the Packers where he got beat. He did,
Yeah.
and if that quarterback didn't, I think it was even Love throwing the ball, but
Mm-hmm.
if he didn't underthrow that ball, that's 6 points right there. And
100%.
you got to give it to him. He caught up and he made the best of the situation. But if it's the regular season, you're like, okay, he made the best of the situation. But you're right, it's the preseason, so you're critiquing him on, okay, that ball should have hit target.
Yeah.
I thought our D line didn't look too great this game, but we didn't really have any starters. And I guess I was hearing on the commentary that that was the whole Packers starting offensive line,
Yes.
except for David Bakhtiari. So
Yeah.
once I kind of realized that, I was like, okay, this is kind of to be expected. And yeah, I thought, another one before I forget, because I don't even think I wrote it down. I think Kobe Bryant looks a lot more comfortable playing safety than he does cornerback. Like he's kind of flying around. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to start. Obviously, he's
No.
the third string strong safety, whatever.
Pretty
But
much.
he does look a lot more comfortable playing that than cornerback, which is crazy because he was an outside corner in college. But maybe potentially in 2 years he could be. Who knows?
Yeah, I think so. I think that nickel was never going to be an ideal role for him. They really that wasn't. It's such a quick game, and in the inside you got to be so quick, and that's kind of he's not super quick. Um,
But
that's
he can
kind of
fly
his weakness.
around.
Yeah, he can fly around, but when you're talking like It's
twitchy.
quickness and their speed, right? So like
Yeah,
he's not quick, but he's got speed, if that makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, he's not twitchy.
He can get like killed. But in if he's got to come downhill, especially downhill, if he's got to come downhill, and he can fly and he can lay a hit, right? So I think it plays safety plays to his strengths more because now I don't know why they didn't continue to keep him an outside corner because the natural thought would be to move him just back there if he wasn't going to play nickel. But I guess they don't like what they see at outside corner for whatever reason. So if he's not going to play there, I'm good with safety because the guy can make plays. I mean, he can force fumbles, he can fly downhill.
Well, that's the thing too. If he sticks, he's like you said, he's not twitchy, but
Right.
he's fast enough to where, say, something happens to Quandre, I'd feel more comfortable with him going in there than Jarek Reed right now.
That's
So,
fair. He's got more experience. He's a little bit more consistent. Jared Reed had a great game against the Packers,
oh,
by
I
the
did.
way.
I had him on my list of stars too.
Yeah,
So
he had a great game against the Packers, but you know
it was
that
against the.
experience matters, and it was the preseason too, so I'm sure he wouldn't look that good against like first stringers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, who knows, right? Until they're thrown into the fire,
Yeah,
who knows what these guys will do? Because
that's true.
a lot of them look great in preseason. I guess let's see who else I got. Levi Bell, another one that is like, I think he's going to make this roster. They had him at fullback. I thought that was kind of cool. And honest to God, like every run play, it seemed like he was there. Even if he missed the tackle, at least he's there. He's the first one there. And then I noticed our defensive ends or whole defensive line is doing a lot better job of getting their hands up this year than in
Yes,
previous years.
yeah, they are.
And that's a coaching thing, and that's awesome that they're doing that in the preseason because that is something that will translate to the regular
And
season.
I could be wrong, but I think they were more intentional about that personnel wise. It seems like they have guys with longer wingspans too. Like I have to go back and double check that, but it's part coaching, but it's also just like I think they did it last year, guys. Just I mean, like Puna Ford just has short. Like, doesn't he have like short arms or something? Like I
Yeah,
mean,
no. What I'm saying is, instead of those routes where the tight end chips for a second and then goes right. So
yeah.
instead of those defenders just freight training to the quarterback, which we saw a lot last year, we've seen a lot the
Mm,
past 5 years. At
yeah,
least the first thing they do is get their hands up when they
that's
notice they
true.
have a free rush. The first thing they're doing is getting their hands up. And,
That's true.
you know,
There is increased awareness. Yes, but that's a great point. It's particularly in those situations, the increased awareness is there. And maybe it's just because they're not thinking as much since they changed the scheme to be a little bit more power, one gapping, less, catch and read, I guess is Al Woods would say. So it's less of that. So maybe because they're not thinking as much about that, maybe they are more aware of what's happening situationally on the field.
yeah, well, it's just making me happy to see.
For
So
sure.
that, like I said, it'll translate. So
Wait, to your point on Levi Bell, I think I'm with you. It was interesting. I don't know if you noticed that they put him in on the inside
I
in that
noticed
Packers
that
game.
on the Packers game.
Yep.
So I noticed during the Cowboys, he was lined up kind of like Mafe, outside linebacker.
Yep.
And I did notice he was playing defensive end, defensive tackle, whatever you want to call it, during the Packers game. So I don't know. But he seemed to excel at both. So that made me happy.
I think he's much better on the edge, but I think what they're trying to do, and this is what makes me think he actually may make the roster, is because they already have 6 edges.
Uh-huh.
And you can't have like 7 edges. Like it's
Yeah.
just too many. You gotta build your roster better than that.
And yeah, and that's a rotational piece, right? So,
Right.
somebody that can play both, especially a depth guy like that. And it helps that he's out there playing fullback with one of the worst chip blocks I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you saw that on the
I
goal
didn't see
line.
that one.
He almost grabbed the guy by the ankle and
Wow.
basically tackled him. Just rewatch it when he's lined
Yeah,
up at fullback.
I'll
It did
rewatch
not
that one.
look great.
I missed most of the first half of the Packers game, so I kind of came in towards the end. And by the time I came in, I wasn't extremely motivated to go back and watch based on the amount of punts I was watching. I really, I didn't want to go back and rewatch the game. I just gotta be honest,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think so. I think I missed that, but anyway, I think they're gonna keep him. I think they're trying to move him inside because
Mhm.
they're super thin on the defensive line, especially depth wise right now. So that's where he can play. And he wasn't nearly as effective, in my opinion, in terms of pass rush on the inside because he was a monster on the edge and he
Oh,
did
yeah,
pretty
he was.
poorly in the inside. But I mean,
I
it's
don't know
not
if
really his game.
I don't know if I'd say he was that poorly, but he still showed up against the run when he
Yeah,
was playing on the inside,
yeah,
and that's what I want.
right.
That's obviously last year we were 30th in the run, so it's like I just want somebody that can stop that ball carrier.
Yeah.
And God, who was another one? I didn't even look up their names. I was just from watching the replay. 77 and 73. Maybe one of those guys can sneak on the roster. They're both inside guys.
Mm.
Um, they
Is
were
it Sykes? I feel like one of those got to be Sykes or Perry.
If you said his name, I could probably tell you back.
I'm gonna look up the
Probably,
roster.
yeah, we'll probably go through those anyways to see who's going to stay and who we
Yeah,
think are going to leave because it's tomorrow. But yeah, 77 and 73 both had big plays. They almost looked identical to each other too. So
yeah, good stuff. Let see. I can see if I can find it. No, it's not on the website. Come on, Seahawks. They don't have the numbers on there, so like I'm going to guess it's like Sykes or well, Goodell had a pretty good tail. He had a pretty good
yes,
game. I
yeah,
know he
that's
had.
the one.
That's the one.
That's one
Okay.
of the two. Yeah. So I thought he looked pretty good. You know what? I think, believe it or not, I don't think there's like a 5% chance. I think Aesop Winston might make the team just because he was
Yeah,
returning kicks and punts.
I'm with
That
you.
was one that's kind of on the bubble for me.
Yeah,
I think just out of the guys that have started, I think Bobo's making this team, and
yeah,
I'm gonna owe my wife a Jake Bobo jersey because I think I told you about that at training camp. She's like, "Oh, that's the guy I want." I'm like, "He ain't gonna make the team." Well, he probably will.
yeah,
So
yeah. We were wrong about that one for sure.
dead wrong. I mean, that was the most confident I've ever been about somebody not like, because obviously it's my wife. She doesn't really watch football. She goes, "Oh, that guy right there, the white guy with the mullet. He's gonna make the team." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's slow, but he doesn't look that slow on the field." So
It's his release, his ability to release at the line of scrimmage is pretty impressive. He just has a really good timing and feel for it. If you go and watch his routes, man, that guy's a route runner. So, which
mm,
is cool because with Jackson being out, I think we haven't talked since Jackson Smith and Jigba got
yeah,
wrist sprain. That pisses me off.
I
Pisses
was
me
gonna
off.
not a sprain. I think it was a break.
Break. Yeah, you're right. It's a break.
Also, I do want to say what up, Steve-O's in here, and we have
What's up,
Ryan from
Steve-O?
No More Sports. So
What's up?
what's going on, everybody? Yeah. So I think he'll be back week 2. You? Yeah.
I think I think Jackson's gonna push for that based on Pete Carroll's comments. It seems like he's gonna push for that. I know they're not gonna play in week 1, maybe week 2, but I definitely think he'll be back by week 3. Depends on sometimes when they get really close to these things, they're like, well, they get really cautious, right? They're just like, well, we don't want to rush you, and so we'll
Yeah.
see. Week 2 or 3, and it wouldn't be more than 4 because they said he wouldn't be on the pup or anything.
Yeah, I
So
did
or
see that.
IR, yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
one injury that kind of flew under the radar really is Mike Morris had a shoulder procedure. I don't know if you saw that because
yep,
I was thinking the Cowboys game. I was like, man, I didn't really see Mike Morris because I thought he looked awesome against the Vikings. And then the Packers game, I was like, dude, this guy's still not on the field.
yeah.
So, and they have no idea when that guy's going to be back. I don't know what kind of procedure was done. Who knows if he's out all year? I mean,
They said it was related to an old injury, and that stuff scares me when they say it's like related to an old injury. I'm like, okay, that it never goes well. Nobody ever says they fixed the old injury and like they come back quickly. I don't recall that ever happening.
yeah. And then Derek Hall got banged up too. I don't know what happened to
Yeah,
him. I
he
forgot.
so Pete Carroll implied it could be something related to an AC sprain, but he couldn't confirm that. But he did mention the words potential AC sprain. So
Okay.
something with the shoulder.
Okay. Well,
So
shoulders and defensive linemen not going well together.
I'm terrified about our defensive line, and I wasn't before, but without the depth, I mean the depth is
Everything.
Sykes, Perry. I mean we're gonna be playing the preseason guys when you rest Jaron Reed. The backup nose tackle right now is Miles Adams.
Yeah, I did notice that. I noticed he played like all game at nose, and I'm not thrilled about that either.
No,
I'm not even really thrilled about Jay Reed playing nose just because of the fact of how small he is, but maybe he's quicker, he is athletic, and that's their philosophy right now.
yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see.
yeah. It may or may not work. I follow the logic. The question is, will it work? But I don't think that you can have like Miles Adams be the backup though. Like he wasn't. He was supposed to be third string. Cam Young was supposed to be second string, but Cam Young is hurt. Mike Morris is hurt. Derek Young. And in fact, all of our rookies except for Jarek Reed to this point have gotten hurt.
Yeah, and that's another big thing. I am really nervous about Witherspoon.
Yeah.
That's one person. We've only seen him in practice, and he doesn't look that great in practice. Maybe he's just a gamer. Let's pray that he's just a gamer, and just was getting everything down. But
Well, I don't know. I'm not that down on his practices.
I kind of was.
I mean, the one-on-ones weren't great, but he bounced back pretty well the next day. That first day, it didn't look good. He got cooked a couple times, but then he seemed like he bounced back okay. And people didn't talk about the one-on-ones that he did well, right? So, like, those didn't make the rounds. And then he had a really couple of good reps against Jackson Smith and Jigba in the end zone when they did those 11 on 11, I think, or it's probably
yes,
7 on 7, something like that. No, it was 11 on 11. So anyway, he made a couple really good plays. So I actually think people emphasize the bad and don't talk about how much better he got as he, got reps in the training camp.
I think so. Mine was just at the mock game and at training camp. The couple ones I went, like, he was there and he did his job, but he didn't splash like the number 5 overall pick is supposed to splash in my point of view. Now JSN splashed at those games that I was at. Like, I was like, man, this guy looks legit. But then again, that could show how great the receivers are that he's covering, and he got there late, and that was his fault. So
I don't think we need the
just
guy to splash.
what's
I don't
that?
want him to splash. I don't want him to splash. I just don't want him to get cooked. As a rookie, I don't need you to splash. Because we got Tariq Woolen, right? Like, we don't need that. We just need guys to not be so bad that nobody throws a Tariq because they know they don't have to because it's an automatic completion on the other side. Like, that's what I need to avoid. If we can avoid that, which is kind of how it was last year at times, then I think I'm fine. I just think the guys' expectations are a little bit unrealistic. What's up, Jen?
What's up, Saijan? Thanks for or Saijan. Sorry for that. Thanks for hopping in here.
Appreciate
Uh,
it. Some 12 support, finally.
yeah, exactly. No, that's my thing. Is like, I just want him to cover his guy, and I want him to do the right assignment. But also, we haven't really seen Quandre Diggs at all. We haven't
No.
seen him play with the right secondary, except for the mock game. Obviously, we haven't seen Bobby in the preseason. We haven't seen. I guess Jordan Brooks is supposed to play week 1.
Sounds
I
like it, which is
Yeah. So
crazy to me.
Yep, because he had a torn ACL after Kyler had a torn ACL,
Yep.
and I don't. Kyler's going to play it all this year because his timeline to return is about when Call of Duty comes out. So I do not think he's going to be focused on football when
No,
he's ready to come back.
no, not at all. So that's really interesting, and I think it'll be interesting to see. Well, it was before Devin Bush got into concussion protocol. What they were going to do there? Were they going to just give Jordan Brooks some reps to get him acclimated into the game, or was he going to start? Uh, but now I don't know if we'll really know the answer to that because it seems like it's going to be Brooks by default because Bush is out.
I think he's in concussion protocol, but I think he should be back by week 1. I think they will split the reps. That's kind of my idea too. That's
I
what I
think
was
that
thinking.
puts him back in the competition though, because I think Bush had kind of gained some momentum. So I think Brooks getting those reps while Bush is out. You're probably right. Bush will be healthy enough to play week 1, but will he have lost momentum?
I think
Probably.
I don't know. We'll see. That's one where I think they'll probably just split it out. Not 50-50, but 75-25, whichever way. Because I mean, we haven't seen Jordan Brooks either, so
It's true. That's a good
uh,
point.
he has to Dallas get cut. We'll find out tomorrow. We'll
Who was that?
find-
DJ Dallas?
yeah, I think he's staying on the team. I
No,
really.
he's not going anywhere. I hear that they were rumored that he was gonna. I don't think they're gonna kill the one veteran that they got in the room at this point. So on that principle alone, yeah. Now, do I wish he was the fourth string guy? And it seems like they kind of got him as like the backup almost. Yeah, I wish that wasn't the case. But they kind of played him. They played him with the starters and stuff. So I don't know. I think they think higher of him than he should be. He'd be under McIntosh if he were up to me.
Yeah, me too. And even Sarajic probably not going to make the team, but I thought Sarajic looked good.
He did.
Sarajic, I mean, he looked decent. He'll probably make it on our practice squad.
Hate that
Let's
we got rid of Kovac. He got hurt. Hate that we
oh
got rid
yeah,
of him.
go back.
That's
I think Talapapa's already gone. I could be wrong.
You're correct.
If if he's not gone already, he's going to be.
Yeah.
That was one guy I thought that was going to be the preseason hero was Talapapa because there's always one random running back that does really good. Um, that doesn't ever do anything in the league. So yeah, I think that's all.
Did you have concerns about one of my trends, one of my patterns that seems to be consistent in every run game, in every game, no matter the situation? The run game just seems to be as hard to watch as the run defense was last year. Like
Yeah,
offensively, nobody's creating lanes.
I did notice that. There was a few plays I think last game where DJ Dallas took it right up the gut, like 4 plays in a row. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I didn't see that. That
I
helped.
mean, and it looked good, but then again, that's in the like third or fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was another thing with the Packers game. I don't remember the Cowboys game, but the Packers game, literally no starting offensive linemen were on the team. So I don't follow the Packers enough to know if any of those guys were started. I mean, if the Packers are starting their whole offensive line unit, what's telling you that they're not starting their whole defensive line unit, right? So I'm not. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, I don't know. So I kind of look more at games 1 and 2 where they played some starting offensive linemen and those guys couldn't get pushed. So the first game
No,
they played Evan Brown and they played Phil Haynes. Those guys looked terrible.
mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Brown didn't look that bad. Haynes looked terrible, but he was on the left side. Then the second game, they actually did play their starters for a couple of drives and still no real ability to get out until now it did get better as the game went on, but you got to keep in mind when the competition goes down, and
Yeah,
Dallas was playing their second string guys, so they couldn't get pushed against second string guys. That I think scared me the most, and that's probably outside of the defensive line depth and how with injuries that's gone down even more. The second most terrifying thing on this team.
yeah, I did. I did notice that a little bit is that we couldn't get a push.
Mm-mm.
But let's just. I think that might be one of those things that comes with playing real football. Let's see how they look week 1 and 2, especially
You're
by
right,
week
man.
3. If week 3 we're still dealing with Kenneth Walker can't find a hole because if there's one guy on the team that can find a hole, it's Kenneth Walker, right?
No,
If
really.
I thought he did great. I thought he made great decisions last year.
No, he struggled sometimes. Okay, so he's very boomer bust. I will give you that. He can be an incredible guy, and when he hits a hole, he can give you home run speed.
And he hits
But
hard. He hits holes hard.
he can also like miss an opportunity and sometimes misjudge his cutback lanes. Everybody was complaining about the jump backs, right? Like the cutbacks, like he cuts back too much in the dancing in the backfield, dancing so much in the backfield that he misses opportunities for,
He
like to get 2 or 3 yards. That was a complaint for him last year. I hope he gets better with that. If he can get better in that, then like, whew, look out. But he was a bit boomer bust, so I can't say if there's a guy that can find the hole, it's him.
You're.
That's
I
not his
guess.
style.
Yeah. I guess you're right because I do remember Pete talking at the end of the year this year, just talking about every play is not going to be a touchdown.
Right,
Like we need those 3 yards on first down instead of
right,
losing one.
right,
So I guess you're right, but I think that just is kind of an age thing, going from college to the NFL too, because in
right.
in college you can cut back so
All
much.
day.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think he has a nose for finding the hole, but I think he's a little bit too optimistic with
Hmm.
trying to cut back and find room somewhere. Sometimes you
Especially
just
with
got to
the
put
stuff
his
that's
head
around.
down.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
with that
and
offensive line.
especially when you had Austin Blythe last year
Yeah,
at center.
yeah,
So let's see.
yeah. Fair enough. Let's see. Jen had a question on update. You must have missed. I think you missed it right when we were talking about JSN,
Uh,
Jen. But yeah, just a update on him. We're thinking he'll be back. I think Joe said he thinks he'll be back week 2. I think it could be week 3. We don't think. Neither one of us really thinks he's going to play week 1. But Pete was very optimistic about him coming back when he last talked about him. Seemed like he came back pretty determined to play early. So you love the spirit, and it's just a matter of if they're gonna feel. I think it's gonna depend on how Jake Bobo plays week 1. If they're gonna rush him back or not. If Jake Bobo doesn't do much of anything, I think they'll go ahead and like play Jackson week 2. But if Jake Bobo does a couple of Jake Bobo things, then they might wait till week 3 and just say, "Hold on, Jackson, like make sure you're all the way back." So we'll
Let's
see.
uh let's look at the roster right now. That was something
Yeah,
I kind of wanted to do. So obviously quarterback, they're gonna have Ahlers be the emergency quarterback, and then Locks could be too. I don't see any big changes there. Let's just go to the roster, and that's my fault. I don't have it brought up right now.
I actually I have my roster up too. Though I don't know if it'll let me like show it.
We'll go. Oh yeah, sure. If you can do share screen, it'll show it.
Okay. All right, let me.
Sorry about
Can you guys see this? Sorry, it's just like a Google spreadsheet. But is this?
no, I
Oh
can't.
no, not yet. Oh wait, I see. Okay, sorry
Oh,
guys.
present and
New
then
to this. New to this. Here we go. Okay,
oh, awesome. That
so
is
this is
way better.
what I had. I probably got to go over and double check to make sure there are no errors with this, but in general, it's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay, so this is post cuts.
Yeah, post cuts for sure. Yeah, 53 man.
Let's see.
I got D Eskridge off to the side because since he's suspended, he doesn't really count against the roster spot right now. So I kind of got him as irrelevant over there.
Yeah, that looks.
Now I put Kate. So I guess we can go. You want to go through? Well, I guess there's nothing to talk about until wide receiver, huh?
Not really. Like
Quarterback
I
and
said,
wide receiver.
I think it'd be a huge shock if Sir Roderick Thompson makes the roster. It
Yeah,
sucks that it has to be down to 53 guys. You kind of wish it was
yeah.
60. You're like, because there's these few guys that you're like, Sir Roderick Thompson's good enough to maybe get in on like a third quarter carry, just one. He's good enough to be in the NFL, but I don't think he's going to be good enough to make this team.
I think he'll be on the practice squad. We might still see him though, because they can always do those call ups. So if they get low on injuries with the running back position, which every year happens, we'll probably see the guy at some time in the year. They'll call him up.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Corey? Before we move on, I think Aesop Winston Jr. might take Cade Johnson's place.
I struggled with this one. I struggled with this one because the only reason why I put Kate is because sometimes I like to lean on those guys who have been around a while, like Penny Hart, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody really knew why Penny Hart stayed around that long, but he was a guy they trusted. He was a guy they kind of leaned on. Kate Johnson played quite a few snaps in both week 17 and the playoffs. So because they trusted him that much, I think it's possible that he gets the spot. But my personal preference would be Aesop. I just kind of went on what I thought they might do.
Yeah, no, you might be right. I don't know. Yeah,
But
that
it's tough. I prefer Aesop personally. I'm with you.
I don't prefer either. I guess I kind of prefer. It doesn't make a huge difference to me unless Aesop is doing what he was doing, returning, except calling a fair catch on the 5 yard line. I'm not sure if that was him or not. I don't remember. That was one of the dumbest things I've seen in a long time. But
Yeah.
he just the next time he got a punt to the 5 yard line, he ran right past. I'm sure he got his ass chewed about it. So yeah, I mean, just whoever's returning punts. If they want somebody returning punts, I trust Aesop more than Cade Johnson. I saw Cade Johnson was returning kicks too, so I guess.
Yeah. I think that Winston is a little bit more valuable on special teams, though. I give you that. Like, Kate Johnson has been a guy on special teams, and he had a really bad look preseason last year. I think he's the guy that like fumbled the punts and stuff. Like that was him, I'm pretty sure. So I think Aesop does more in terms of special teams value, but the experience, do they weigh that with that the fact that Cade's played games and he's had some pretty good catches? I mean, he showed himself as valuable when he
Yeah.
was on the field in real NFL games.
Yeah, so I think that's the only iffy one. I doubt they keep Mabry on the active roster. I didn't like what I
Yeah,
saw out of him at
no,
all during
at
the
all.
preseason.
They
I
can
was
really get somebody else, like anybody else. Maybe he's been around for a while. He's not going to get better. Just find a new guy. Find a new
Yeah,
upside.
and it sucks. It does. It's hard to say, but yeah, he did not look good. I mean, he didn't really look good last year when he came in for the Jets game. He scored a touchdown, but
Yeah.
anybody could have scored that.
Yes. And literally, okay, that was rude. I was gonna say literally anybody did, but that's mean to not do that. Okay, so that's it for wide receiver. I think tight end is really nothing to talk about there. Well, we just did that. Okay, if it were myself, I would not have Stone Forsythe on this
Me
roster.
neither. I was
He
gonna
is
tell you, but they're
so
gonna keep him.
undeserving.
They're gonna keep him though.
They're gonna keep him, and it's just because they drafted him. That's it. It's because he was a draft pick. If he was not a draft pick, he would have been long gone right now. He's way too slow. You can't fix that. You can't fix his foot speed, especially if he hadn't got it after. Is this his fourth year? Fourth year?
I want to say it's his third.
Because he was in the class with the three. He was in Daryl Taylor's class, right? Yeah, it's his fourth year. Because it's three. It
Is
was
this
Daryl Taylor, Stone
Eskridge?
Forsythe. Hmm.
The one where they had three was Eskridge, right?
Oh well, yeah, yeah. Wait,
Maybe you're right. Yeah, regardless, this is third or fourth
it's the
year.
third or fourth year. It's too. If he hadn't got it by now, he's not going to get it. He's not progressed, and he's not even doing what he's been touted well to do. So the guy came in as a guy who you can count on in pass protection, who was poor in the run game. Well, I don't see the pass protection. I don't see it. So what?
No,
What do you do?
I didn't either. And when you say poor in the run game, I mean like really poor in the run game. And that's what kills me the most. So who do we have getting cut then? I guess I'd have to look at that.
Greg Island. That's it. Because they don't have a ton of offensive line depth. It's Bradford. Their backups are Curhan, Forsythe at the tackle position,
Yeah.
and Bradford and Greg Island, who's been on the practice squad forever. They don't probably wouldn't blink twice about cutting him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go to guard now.
Yeah. Oh, and well, they already cut Liam Ryan in the center, right?
Let's see.
He was a center, so he got cut. Liam Ryan, and then Joey Hunt. I'm assuming at the center position that Joey Hunt's going to get cut as well.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even know he was still on the team until this preseason. I was like, what? The only reason I knew it was him was because of his hair. I was like, so I thought he left when Russ left. I thought they'd get rid of the short quarterback and the short center at the same time. I didn't even remember him being on the team last year. So
last year he was not. I think they had him on the practice squad last year, and then they had him in training camp this whole year ever since. You know, they got real desperate at center, and honestly, it was so bad at center last year that the prospect of bringing back Joey Hunt was somewhat enthusiastic. Yeah, it was somewhat intriguing to me. I'm like, great, can he play better than Forsythe?
Exactly. Or Blythe.
Blythe, sorry, not Forsythe. Blythe.
So you have Kendall Randolph being cut. That makes sense. I don't think much. Honest to God, I couldn't tell you a play that he played.
Well, wait. He played really well in the Packers game, especially in the run game. I looked at his PFF scores. He was second highest rated guy on the offensive line. So I think he may have been the highest on the offensive line. So he did really well against the Packers, but before that, he hadn't really done much. So I'm sure they're not worried about anybody stealing him. That's for sure.
Yeah. Defensive end, I guess.
Yeah.
You got Draymond Jones, obvious. Mario Edwards, obvious, making the team. Mike Morris, he might be on IR, right?
He might. I don't. They haven't talked about him in that way, and I'm kind of optimistically. I haven't put him in blue, which means he's automatically going to be an injured reserve or pup. But I don't know.
Because I liked what I saw from him, a lot. I was really intrigued,
and he needed the reps. He needed the preseason reps.
Mm-hmm. So you have Sykes being cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who else? That's it.
But I will say this with Sykes, because Brian Monet is going out on IR, and they technically, so the roster, the way it's going to look Tuesday is going to be different, because once they put people on IR, then you can bring in other guys to replace them. So I think Sykes is a guy who could make the roster just after they situate the Monet situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got him kind of on the bubble.
Oh, I thought you didn't have Miles Adams in there. I was like, well, what are they going to do?
Without Cam Young, he's a backup nose, man.
Exactly. Who was the other one? Yeah, so Monet's out. obviously, from last season, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
So I think
let's go
Sykes
ahead.
will ultimately go here.
Yeah,
Or maybe Perry. I don't know who they like more.
let's
Or
see.
Goddard. I mean Goodell or whatever. 77 you said.
I think they might have cut him already.
Oh, did they? Oh, okay. Just
Because
kidding.
I'm looking at the roster and I don't see. Oh, never mind. Gattel. Yeah, he's listed as nose, so maybe
Okay.
he sneaks in.
Maybe they take him instead. It'll be one of the big guys on the front. And honestly, pick your favorite. I think I'm fine with all three of them showed promise. All three of them showed that they're undrafted at the same time too. So like,
Yeah, exactly. And then let's get to edge before we get to linebacker because
okay,
there'll be a few.
Snochena, Mafe. Really a little disappointed in that Hall situation, especially because it was so late in preseason. I mean, I'm glad he got all the reps in training camp, but I would have
Yeah.
loved to see him get some early reps in.
You think Belor still makes a team?
Sadly, I
I
put
don't.
him down. I didn't feel like adding a fullback category.
I
We all
noticed.
know he's not going to play either fullback or linebacker. So like he's literally just on here.
Honest to God, when they put when they've been putting Levi Bell in at fullback the last couple weeks, I was kind of in the back of my head thinking, well, maybe there goes Belor. Because,
Yep.
I mean, is he that gunner on special? Not even the gunner. He's not a gunner. Just that sure tackler on special teams. Is that really the guy we're looking for?
So they
I
already
mean,
extended him, right? Wouldn't they have to eat that money? They already paid him.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
They
I
extended.
think
They
that
just gave him an extension.
wasn't that last off season, right? Or was it this one?
I think it was this one because it was right after or right before. I can't remember. Right back to back with the Jason Myers.
You are
So
correct. It was. Yeah, so they're not going to. I'd rather see as much as he looks like 57,
oh,
whatever,
Pat O'Connell
O'Connell. I'd rather see him take that roster spot than Nick Bellore.
or any fullback, like you said, Levi Bell. Well, if he already makes the roster, then he's in. But I'm with you. I'd rather literally anybody else take that roster spot because they're paying him to be a locker room guy. It's that simple.
Yep, that's
They're
it.
paying him to be a locker room guy, and I get it, kind of. But like, they didn't have to extend him. I don't
No,
get the extension.
no, exactly. They didn't have to do anything with him. He could have. He's like a vet minimum guy in my.
Yeah, like they could have just brought him back. Like I get bringing him back, but like you didn't have to pay him what they paid him. I mean, who's his leverage? Who was the other team bidding against you? Is my question.
Uh, your own mind. I don't know. Um, can we call him a gadget guy? No, you cannot call Valor a gadget guy because that
No,
means he'd be good at multiple things.
right?
And that's not a knock on him. He's an NFL football player, but I mean, geez, it seems like he's just kind of there sometimes on punts.
Well, he's old. He's old, and it shows. I think he was fine in his heyday,
Yeah,
but
he is 34 years old. I did not
yeah,
realize that. I
it
thought
shows.
I was thinking 28. Honest.
Oh no, he's way no. I mean, he was okay at 28. He was a guy that you could justify keeping on the roster at 28. But justify paying a guy, what are they paying? $3 million, something like that. 3.5, too much money to be a special teams guy who should probably get the vet minimum. It's too much. Um,
I,
sorry, not sorry.
even I just noticed your list. Even Joey Blunt instead of Nick Bloor.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good. Maybe that would make sense. It is so
yeah,
hard. It doesn't even look like there's only 53 guys on this list.
yeah. I
I
know.
swear.
I double checked. I kept counting. I might be missing one because I did this like an hour before we hopped on the show. So
No,
granted,
I
but
got you. It
I'm
just
really close. But
it looks like so. I mean, you like look and you're like, who would I switch? Because I kind of hope just for special teams, I'd like Joey Blunt to make the list.
yeah,
I'd rather have Joey Blunt make the list for special teams than Nick Bloor.
I agree.
And I thought his
I just
celebration was
don't think it's a
awesome.
good roster spot. Two roster spots I would happily get rid of. Stone Forsythe, Nick Ballore would happily and be proud of the Seahawks if they walked away.
I don't think they will though.
No, they didn't
Especially,
walk away from LJ Collier, so they're not walking away from this.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of scary only having four cornerbacks up there, but Kobe could slide right in there, and
Yeah,
Julian Love is kind of playing nickel too. So
yeah. That's really where it, because I had Artie Burns on this list, but because of the special teams guys, I think I was at 54. So I had to get rid of him. But Artie Burns is the guy. If they wanted to play around with these numbers, and maybe he's the guy they bring back after the Monet switch. I don't know, but Artie Burns played some nickel, and to me that says that they're looking for a way to keep him on this team.
I'm surprised they haven't dealt him
Yeah.
after Saturday.
Well, you're not going to deal him. You would deal, because he was a free agent. He obviously doesn't have a market. You would deal a Mike Jackson, somebody who's got some experience, some proven film
Oh
out
no,
there.
I'm saying after before cut day on Tuesday, tomorrow. I'm surprised with how Burns showed up. If somebody wanted to offer a 6th round pick just so he didn't hit waivers, I'm kind of surprised with how well he played on
I'm not.
Saturday because he's a guy I had starred, but yeah, he's kind of bounced around too. So
Yeah, he's a journeyman, and he came. I mean, he was on the couch when we signed him, which means other teams could have. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing he's going to do in preseason between being on the couch a few months ago and now to make him tradable. Mike
yeah,
Jackson is who you would trade, and then you would just keep Artie Burns as your veteran insurance. Pretty much is how you work that, because he can
just
play outside and inside.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do in terms of getting value. Because Mike Jackson's the only one worth getting value, and Trey Brown, but I'm not willing to deal him out.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly after the preseason, I'm more willing to get rid of Jackson than Trey Brown, and I'm a Jackson fan, so
Right.
that's saying something, right?
Yeah.
Just the way he showed out. Yeah, Diggs, Derek Reed. So who would they cut at safety? So I guess Blunt, right?
Yeah. Some guys. Some guys. There was nobody other than Joey Blunt. There was nobody special at safety. I still don't know if they consider Kobe free safety or strong safety. I put him in strong safety because I saw him there on a depth chart, their first official depth chart once. So I stuck with him there. But he could easily play both, I think.
Yeah, and I'd rather kind of if he has to come in, I'd rather see him at free safety anyways. So
I agree.
um that 39 they have listed as a safety, but I thought he played more linebacker during the game.
Yeah.
Sutherland, I
Yeah. So
remember
Sutherland
a
is a
couple
guy.
good plays.
Didn't he play a lot at nickel?
I can't remember.
I think he
I
played a lot at
remember
nickel.
hearing his name once or twice. It's so hard, especially going like I'm trying to think back to the Cowboys game now. So
They played him a lot at nickel. So he's Sutherland and the guy Coda would be the people who got cut from the safety, as well as
yeah,
Joey
yeah,
Blunt.
that's at 39, who I thought was a linebacker playing last week.
Yeah. So
Let's
I think they're not really losing anything other than Joey Blunt. I agree with you on the, if I had to choose between Nick Ballore and Joey Blunt, it's Joey Blunt all day, but we're not in charge.
exactly. God, it just having 4 middle linebackers on there. Who's gonna pick up Joey Blunt through waivers?
No one. That's why they can cut him, and they're going to put him on the practice squad. So Joey Blunt will be around. I mean, he was
Sorry,
on the practice squad last year.
I misspoke that. Who's gonna pick up Ballore on waivers is what I'm
Oh,
asking.
absolutely no one.
That's
He wouldn't go through waivers because he's a vet. So he'd just
oh,
be a vested free agent.
okay, and then we could just pick him up, and then now you're allowed to put veterans on the practice squad.
Correct.
So
So that's what I would do. But I guess they would play him on special teams every game. So you can't keep calling him up
I don't
that
know if I
often.
keep 6 receivers. Now
You
that
may
I'm
not.
looking at this,
You may not.
I might keep 5 and then try to sneak Joey Blunt on
Would
there.
you sneak Joey Blunt in over Artie Burns or
See,
a
that's
nose
tough.
tackle?
That is a tough question because he showed out. I thought Burns looked great.
Yeah, I'm
So
fine with 5 for sure. They went with 6 last year because I think, well, no, didn't they keep? No, they cut Bo Melton, didn't they? Did
they
they go
cut
with
who?
5? Bo Melton, they cut him. So maybe
Yeah,
they did go with 5 last year.
I think somehow Penny Hart made his way onto the
Yeah,
roster
he did.
last year.
I feel like they went with 6, so I kind of slated 6. But I'm great with, like you said, having the 5. Put Kay Johnson, Eastside Winston. They can both be on the practice squad. Get an Artie Burns in here, but it's tough because that defensive tackle depth is so small. And I like Joey Blunt, but the reason I'm not super high on keeping Joey Blunt on the roster is because they called him up from the practice squad last year, and they can just do the same thing again this year, especially consider he's injured. Do you really want to, I mean, he's going to be play anytime soon. I don't know how severe the injury is, but
This is
yeah,
so this is so hard. I don't think I've ever gone through and like really cut down to specifically 53. So imagine being the guy, imagine being like Pete and John and actually having relationships with these guys on top of the fact
yeah.
that you have to crunch the numbers, right? So
And you can tell they struggle with it because like they always slowly release these guys. Like they always get rid of the people who like nobody thought they can make the roster anyway first, and then they take the longest to release the final waivers. They struggle. They're not one of those teams that's just gonna cut all at once. Like
yeah,
they
they did
struggle.
that. They did that. They released like 7 yesterday and 5
Yeah,
today. So
yeah. And they were all guys that like no one ever thought would make the roster anyway. They struggle. They're making the same decisions we're making right now.
yeah, but even harder, way harder,
Yeah,
because they know these people
right.
personally.
Exactly.
So you're not just cutting them, you're cutting their whole family. So
Right.
that's the thing. But I think your list looks good. We'll see. Maybe there's some surprises there. There's just not really one guy that I could look at and be like, don't get him on the team.
Yeah. But okay, you didn't answer the question though. If you had to pick, if you let's say we get rid of Cade Johnson, which actually might do. I think I'll just do that in real time. I can stick Artie Burns in here, or I can stick us a nose tackle who's not Miles Adams in here, or Joey Blunt. Where do you go?
I think that 77, what's his last name?
Gattel, Matt.
Yeah,
How do you spell it? I don't know how to spell it.
I'll look it up right now.
I'm on the depth chart. Uh, where
G-O-T-E-L.
is he? Gio. Did he already get cut?
No, he was on here.
He's not on the depth chart. I don't
He's
think.
on their roster. It's listed as NT for nose tackle.
The ESPN does not have this guy on here.
Oh,
Do they know something?
yeah, do they? I don't know. Another one was Vi Jones. Like, I don't think he deserves a roster spot either, but that's one that I could see sneaking on to the roster, I guess.
I gotta be honest. I like him more than like John Radigan, more than I like BBK, more than I like all those guys. But with his injury, he seems like he's gonna be out a while. They haven't said anything about him, and that's never good.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll make it. I think he probably would have been a practice squad roster, and gave Nick Ballor a run for his money if he would have been able to stay healthy for the preseason.
He's
But
still on the team.
he'll be on the team because he's been around for a while.
Sorry,
But
I mean Gattel. Sorry.
oh, okay. Well, ESPN just slipping. That's no surprise. No surprise there. But
He made all preseason team. Nice.
really, that's a thing.
I guess. He tweeted that. He said, thank God, blessed to make all preseason game. Hashtag Seahawks.
Okay, happy for him.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna.
even know his name, and I didn't even know his name until you said it a minute ago. You were like, oh, yeah. Because I just had 77 written down. It's like, oh, 77 and 73. I couldn't tell which one was which. They look good.
Let's see. Yeah. So that's what I got. I think I'm with. I think you've talked me out off of Cade though. I wasn't. I don't love it, but you know.
Yeah, it's one of those. I guess it's just hard to let go of some of these guys. It is. You never think it will be, and it's down to those last 4 or 5, right? That's always the hardest.
Yeah, for sure. But they'll make the practice squad anyway, and the Seahawks are really good about giving guys who've earned it and who maybe should have made the roster, those bubble guys. They'll call them up, and maybe they'll play, maybe they don't, but they're pretty good about that. Wait, Syjan doesn't like Artie Burns. No Burns? I like Burns, man.
Especially
As
this preseason, because I think this is second stint here, if I'm not mistaken.
They were kind of slotting him as a starter before Tariq Woolen, came in. I mean, everybody kind of thought it'd be Sidney Jones and Artie Burns.
That was last offseason, huh? So
Correct.
I thought it was going to be Sidney Jones and Kobe Bryant. And then I thought this year would be Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant, and I was way off.
We all were.
So I mean, I thought Tariq was gonna take, or just Reek now. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
Reek. I
that's still
thought
weird.
I thought Reek was gonna take a while to develop, but I did not expect this whatsoever. So
Yeah. Oh, okay, okay, okay. He said he likes Burns. Yeah, because I just like Burns' versatility. I liked him before, but the fact that they're playing him at nickel and they're playing him on the outside speaks volumes to me. And anything I can do to get Kobe Bryant out of the slot, I will do. It sounds bad, but like outside of the forced fumbles, he was bad in coverage, like really bad, like
yeah,
six
and
worse.
it seemed like he was a bad like.
He's bad.
This is weird. So this is weird to say. Like it seemed like after the receiver caught the ball, he was not an awesome tackler. But now that he's at safety, it seems like he is a really good open tackler. I mean, he did miss one big tackle on AJ Dillon, but the guy's
Yeah, it's AJ Dillon.
quadriceps are like the size
Yeah,
of tree trunks, you know. And
yeah.
how much does Kobe Bryant weigh? I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's not a lot. So, yeah, these. I'm excited for this team. I really am. I think
I'm wringing my hands. I was excited 2 weeks ago, and now I'm hand wringing because of the injuries. The injuries have made me. We lost the rookie class, and the rookie class was a big reason why I was super excited about the possibilities of this team. But without those guys, who's even playing week one? What rookies are playing week one? Can we name one?
Witherspoon, he'll play.
If he's, when we're just said we're concerned about him,
I
so
I said I was concerned about him. You don't
I
seem
agree.
as concerned as me.
I think I no, I agree with you on the concern because I think he will be physically healthy by week one, but losing the reps all of the rest of the preseason is concerning. Now, I'm not as down on his training camp. Found a lot of people didn't like how his training camp went. I'm higher on remembering the good things that like he learned quickly, right? So he
Mhm.
started off pretty bad and then he looked really good at the end of it and people were talking a lot about him. That gets a little lost in the fact that it's been a while. So
I just wanted
I
to see him
think he
suit up
might look
once.
rough to start.
I just wanted to see him suit up once, and we haven't seen him suit up once. So let's see. Let's see.
I don't
Uh,
want him going up against Cooper Cup in week one. Sorry. I don't want it. Sit him.
I
Sit him.
kind of, you know what? Sit him unless think in your head though. If he shuts him down, think about the confidence that kid will have
That's
after that.
true. That's true, but that's tough. That's a tough ask. At week one, now, if this was week six against Cooper Cup, I'd be fine. I think, like, because he
Now
might get hurt.
let's think about this too. So Charbonnet is going to play.
That's
Uh,
true. Okay, Charbonnet will play.
so JSN will be out week one. Charbonnet will play. Who? Derek Hall.
Maybe
What was his
Witherspoon.
deal again? A shoulder thing? You said
I
Derek
don't
Hall.
think he'll be back. Yeah, AC sprain, maybe. Suspected AC sprain, not confirmed. But something with the shoulder. I don't think he'll
What's
be
the
back.
timeline on that? If it
AC
is
sprain, more than 2 weeks.
no, but
Oh, they
maybe
haven't said. They didn't know how serious it was when he got hurt. So Pete was asked about it after the Packers game because he got pulled in the third quarter of the Packers game. So he was asked about it. He said he mentioned the words AC sprain, but it's not. He said it's not confirmed, and they didn't know how serious it was. So we won't hear from that until we talk to Pete again. Maybe was it tomorrow? Will they do a press conference or
okay.
practice? Probably. So hopefully it's not bad, but
We'll see.
I
Hold
don't like
don't
it. At
hold your
that position, shoulders are important. So
a little bit, yeah. And
yeah.
then so Mike Morris, obviously, I really wish he would be there. I liked him a lot the first preseason game. I thought so. Mike Morris will be out. He will be in, but he won't be starting.
No,
So who else is there?
that's it. Because Jarek Reed won't be starting. We know that, and we know that Kenny Mack. Now there's a question about Kenny Mack. I don't know if he'll be healthy enough by week one though, because I, if I remember, I think someone asked about him. You know, you can never tell in those press conferences who's
Yeah, what
asking
was
about
his
what.
deal? I forgot all about him. What was his?
In the mock deal, he was it sprained his knee
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah,
mock game. The
yep.
mock game, yep. So he hasn't been right since, and I think he's probably on the verge of getting back to walkthroughs or something. But will he play week one? Probably not, especially at that position.
Yeah,
You got
you
to be
have
100%.
and you have so much depth there already, right? If you're
Yeah,
not 100%, we don't want you coming in. I wrote a note down. to let your husband know, ask him if he thinks Tony Jones Jr. is going to make the Broncos roster this year. I noticed he was on the. I was listening to the
I
Rich
didn't know
Eisen.
that.
I was listening to the Rich Eisen podcast today, and they were talking about the best destinations for John Taylor, and they brought up the Broncos running back room, and they're like, okay, there's Javonte Williams, and then they name like 4 guys, and they go, and Tony Jones Jr. And I was like,
Ah,
I was gonna text you, but then I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna write it down. I almost forgot to bring it up. So,
that's funny. That's funny. No, I definitely asked him that. But
but Bobo,
he
Bobo,
watched the game that Tony Jones Jr. played. I'm sure he doesn't think that he's gonna make the roster.
so Bobo will be playing. He's a undrafted rookie.
I guess yeah, he counts. Sorry. Well,
Levi
I said
Bell.
the drafted rookies that won't play, but I guess
I
Bobo.
think, but here's the thing: it's not like JSN will be back by you think week 3, I think week 2. So let's just say week 4, JSN will be back.
Yeah, for sure.
I really hope Mike Morris will be back because that was one guy that I was really counting on.
I'm nervous on that.
I am too because remember Darrell Taylor's rookie year.
Yep.
And you're not high on Darrell Taylor at all, but his rookie year he never played.
No.
Would he play like the last game or something?
Nope, they didn't play him at all because he didn't play at all his rookie year. Instead of he's going into year 4. Like it's technically year 4 for him, but he will be a restricted free agent because the Seahawks still have the rights to him because he didn't play or practice enough in year 1 for it to toll over for him to count as a thing. So yeah,
I'm counting on him to have a big year. I really hope he does. If not, Boye needs to step it up. Honestly, I feel like we're putting too much of this on Boye when it comes to the edge position.
I agree.
I feel like the pressure should be on Darrell Taylor just because of the poor performance last year.
He is what he is.
I know, but I feel like I want him to split reps with Darrell Taylor. I don't want all the pressure on Boye to be like, I do not want him to just be like ran into the ground because we saw how easy they can, they get tired. Not only they get tired, they're out a lot.
Well, Boye's not played the position long. There's a guy who I'm not worried about getting a ton of reps. It's Boye. He's on play the position, 3-4 years in total. Like he's really new to the position in general. So he's not got a ton of reps there. And Darrell Taylor is so bad against the run.
Yeah, that's my thing.
So bad that my fear is anytime he's on the field, they're just going to run at him. So, because that's what I would do. Anytime he's on the field, we're checking out of the play. Darrell Taylor's on the field. We're running to his side. And it would work every time. And
here's one thing that I'm kind of optimistic about that, though. Because you can tell this offseason they've been preaching run game, run game, run game, run fits, run fits, run fits. Knock on wood, maybe it got through to him. Maybe because we haven't seen him play in the preseason, right? I've seen him play in the mock game, one drive, maybe?
No, he's hurt.
Oh, he was?
He's hurt.
Okay. Then that's why. Then that's totally why. Because, I haven't seen him at all then.
I think they're talking about him coming back too, but he's been hurt. He just kind of started to get ramped back up. I can't remember why he's hurt.
That was one thing. Yeah, maybe he didn't play in the mock game. Because, like I said, if he did, he was like one series. Because Bobby played multiple series during the mock game, and he looked like Bobby Wagner. Right. He did. He looked still awesome. So,
no, he's been hurt. So here's part of my problem and why I'm not high on Taylor. Some of those reps were effort, man. Some of those reps were just you just didn't care enough. Like I've seen you put in more effort than that. And on film, you didn't put in 100% effort. So for me, maybe if he puts in the effort, he gets a little bit better. Because sometimes he just got physically railroaded. But I just didn't see him bulk up enough for me to feel like he's got an anchor at the point of attack. He doesn't. He's the same size.
Well, and that was my problem with Frank Clark a while ago too. Is it wasn't like talent wise; it was effort against the run game. Like if they ran the ball, he didn't care. Right. He was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to get a stat for this. Yeah. I'm not going to get a sack. Michael Bennett, that's how he made his money.
Yeah.
Michael Bennett made his money stuffing the run, and he would get to the quarterback too. But honestly, if there's one thing I would like a guy like Michael Bennett back for, it would be stuffing the run. It's a different scheme now. I get that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. I follow you. Oh, wait, so I thought about this randomly. Speaking of like body takeovers, it's not been talked about, and I don't know why. But like, I know everybody's saying Jamal Adams is injury prone, and he is injury prone. But like, have you seen him? He is like 2 to 3 times his upper body size. Like he looks almost the same size as Draymond Jones, and they look alike, which is weird anyway. But like, their upper body is not that different in size. So I'm actually kind of optimistic about that. Like, obviously, guy was like sick of getting hurt. I'm putting on extra weight because he was super small, right? Doing those hits, he's really skinny. So nobody's
Let's
talking about it, but I'm here for it.
let's see. I just
I'm here for it. I like that he's put on the weight, right? Because if you're gonna be able to if you're gonna tackle like that, the problem is he tackles way bigger than he is. Well, now if he's got that extra weight on him, like will he tackle his own size? And will it hurt him the same way it did before? Because now it's the upper body strength to like absorb.
and maybe wrap up when you make a tackle. That was one of my biggest things with Jamal Adams. Is he tries to shoulder tackle people, and that
That's true.
works awesome with wide receivers. It does, like it works
That's true.
awesome with defenseless receivers. Let's be honest.
That's
But when it comes to meeting a running back in a hole, which he's going to be asked to do a lot this year because he's a box safety, whether he says it or not. He's a box safety. I mean, he
yeah.
can't. It just, I just, I think we're indifferent on this because we look at it in two different ways. The way I look at it is how much it set us back a little bit with those 2 draft picks, and that's just what I can't get over.
I agree. It did set us back. The reason I don't care as much is because it was the Russell Wilson era and that's over anyway. Like it would have been the picks for the Russ era. And I also feel a lot better because we fleeced the Broncos. So that in my mental mind, like we got fleeced, cool, we fleeced back. So in ours, like stings, like that's what people talk about more. Like no one's really talking about Jamal Adams, but everybody's talking about the Russ trade. So like we got
Just
it back.
there's been 3 defensive players ever traded for 2 first-round picks. Do you know who they are?
No.
It's Jamal Adams, Khalil Mack, and Jalen Ramsey. I think out of the 3, we might have got the worst possible outcome for the 3. But it's
Well, I don't know.
when he shows
Khalil,
promise. Wait, Khalil Mack? He won like
okay,
defensive player of the
after
year.
he got traded, Khalil Mack after he got traded, I don't know. I mean, he did really good, but also he was
Maybe
kind
he
of on some
didn't.
bad defenses with Chicago for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was the star of that bad defense. It don't matter. He was
I
getting after
guess.
the quarterback, right?
I guess if that counts,
He
I
wasn't a
suppose.
weak link. He definitely wasn't a weak link. Where in times it felt like Jamal is the weak link, like in
They that
past.
I don't blame him for that. That's on the coaches. I do not blame them for that. They 100% put him in the worst possible position to succeed. Like you knew the player he was. They did the same thing with Jimmy Graham. It's like, you know, the same thing. Like if you're gonna
Yep.
bring in a guy who's a unique guy, don't keep trying to stick a square peg in a round hole because that's what they did with Jamal. And then they were like, oh no, this doesn't work. We have to change the whole philosophy. Well, yeah, it took you 2 years to figure that out, but you should have known that coming into the seat. Like it was anyway. So I don't blame Jamal for that. That's not his fault. He did what the coaches asked him to do. Coaches put people in bad positions, especially Ken Norton Jr.
Yeah, it's just sometimes I wish he played like he talked, like with Jamal. Sometimes like he's loud. And then I don't know. Just
Well, yeah, okay. The year he talked, he played well.
yeah, I don't think he's ever shut up. I think he was hurt and talking last year.
If he wouldn't talking loud enough because we don't talk about it, we don't hear it. So
I guess you're right. It's just like
like, I mean, if he's, I mean, he had 9.5 sacks this year. I'm not gonna complain about his year one with the Seahawks. Did he have weaknesses? Yes, but also he was literally the single handedly the Seahawks pass rush that year because they had zero. It was literally just Jamal Adams and his sacks because it was nothing else.
but a lot of them he was running free.
Doesn't matter. He was literally the only pass rush that year, and without him, you would have had nothing.
I think
So
they could have found another safety to get in there and get at least 6.5 of those.
no, I disagree.
Agree
I
to
disagree.
disagree on that
Yeah.
one. I just don't. I just don't. Me and Jamal. I
Because
hope.
because part of Jamal is his instincts, right? So I think you could have a guy come in there and get 4.5. Not saying they can get any sacks, but a lot of what what is in Jamal's favor is his instincts one way or the other. Sometimes he takes chances, sometimes they don't work, but that's kind of how instincts work.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you're right. I just hope he can, play a major role to this team because it's not only the 2 draft picks, it's the 17.5 million, 18.5 million,
The
whatever.
cap hit is real. The cap, but I don't know if I'm curious to see what they do with that next year. They are setting them up. They're setting themselves up to be able to move off of that if he doesn't play well this year.
Oh, is that it? Because
Yeah, with Julian Love,
for some reason, I thought it was 2 more years until we could move off him. So
I
I
think
would
they
be
can move off of him this year. After this season, they can financially they can move. They can. They'll take some dead money hit, but like it won't be.
astronomical.
Yeah, and personnel wise, they've got Julian Love, so they've already set themselves up. That's why they paid him, because I think they're aware that Jamal may not work next season. If they got to make some tough choices, and that may be one they make. It's not gonna be Quandre.
No, no,
It's gonna be him.
definitely
So
not. I'm just nervous for when Quandre hits the wall because it seems like he's getting up there in age. What is he now?
31.
Yeah, I'm a little. Well, safeties tend to last quite a long time too. So
Yeah, he didn't even play safety that long. He came in as a nickel, I think.
he did. He came to the Seahawks as basically
Yeah.
a nickel.
So I think I'm all right on Quandre. He looked so much better in the second half that I think it was really the injury. Now the question is, does he become more injury prone? That's more likely to me than him losing his speed or ability. And half of Quandre's game is up here. Like,
Hmm.
he's got some physical traits, right? He's got the speed, the ball hawking. You can't take away from him. Either you can catch or you can't, Jamal. Either you can catch or you can't. And he can. So I, yeah. Whoa, this is an interesting question, Bryant. Would you be interested in Baker from the Cardinals?
I
A
wouldn't right
Buddha.
now. I wouldn't right now, but I would have instead of taking Malik McDowell.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I wouldn't want to pay the money because the contract that he's on right now and already paying Condre, I don't want to move off of paying that much money in safety. We'd still have Julian Love, or I guess you probably trade Julian Love in that exchange. But no, love Buddha, but that's a pipe dream. We've got better needs.
We
Please
mess
pay
up
a
the
defensive
minute we
lineman.
messed up with Buda Baker is when we pass on him to take Malik McDowell. That was honestly, if you want to talk about the ultimate sin, like how this team,
Didn't
the
they
league
pass
should
on
move.
TJ Watt? They passed on TJ Watt, right?
They traded down. So yeah, they passed on TJ Watt, traded down, which was terrible, and then they passed on Buda Baker to take Malik McDowell. So if you want to talk about like the ultimate sin that started this whole downward spiral, which is basically, well, you can say up and down, but realistically, the morale has gone down since 2017. Is all started with that Malik McDowell pick.
I think you're right, though. I think the morale is largely back up.
Oh, me too. That's why
Yeah,
I'm saying it
up.
finally took last year to come back up. But without the Malik McDowell pick, we don't trade for Sheldon Richardson. We don't trade Curse away.
You
And
don't
then
you don't trade for Quandre Diggs though. With
you're
Buda Baker,
correct.
you don't trade for Quandre Diggs because Quandre Diggs was a desperation pick because we got tired of watching Tedrick Thompson. Like,
T2. T2.
yeah, we got tired of watching that on film, and Pete was like, "Enough is enough. Please give us literally this nickelback over here on the Lions. Yeah, we'll take him. Like
Somehow that
anybody
worked
else,
out. And it was his first game was against the 49ers. Do you remember that? I think that was his first game, and he had a pick.
killed it, killed it,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it completely changed the morale of the defense because they were just kind of getting run at with what was it, Michael Kendricks.
Uh-huh.
He was a liability that year. The defense was. We don't talk about how bad the defense has been lately. And I know everybody was really upset about last year's, but like, yeah, I've watched some worse defenses than that.
No,
Like,
I was fine with the pass defense. I thought we looked decent, especially
yeah,
when Wosu was getting to the quarterback. And somehow he it still blows my mind when you told me that Daryl Taylor had 9.5 sacks last year. You told me that like what was that, three,
against
4
the
months ago
Jets.
now is the first time you told me that. And I was just like,
3
I'm pretty
against the
sure
Jets.
Nwosu had 9.5 sacks, but his 9.5
Yes.
sacks seemed to matter.
Yes,
You
they did because they did matter. And well, because really what it was is what they started doing at the beginning of the season. Nosu was on a tear, right? And they started double teaming him. So it does leave a little bit more opportunity for other guys, except nobody could really take advantage of it unless it was a weak offensive line. And then Daryl Taylor did. So that's how he ended up piling them on in
in
the end.
that Jets game. So I rewatched that a couple weeks ago, and just the last play of the second quarter, he like got the most meaningless sack I've ever seen in my life. I was like, "Yep, yeah, that's my guy." Et.
Just that pattern. It's cool. Was it Dwayne Brown he was beating like that? Was he matched up with
I
Dwayne
do
Brown?
want to say that I do either him or Fant, but I want to say it was Brown because I remember going. I think I told you this. I was at the stadium during that Jets game, and I kept going. That tackle's literally false starting every play.
Yeah.
But it's because Daryl Taylor was jumping the snap so good. I will admit that game he looked awesome.
Yeah, he
I
did.
mean, he was jumping the snap. But how's he going to look against a quarterback with a cadence like Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Because that was I don't even remember. Was it Zach Wilson playing quarterback? It might have been Mike White. I think it was Mike White.
Probably both, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was both. I think either Wilson got pulled. It's possible he got pulled that game. There's a lot of I thought I remember seeing both. I know for sure Mike White. Maybe Zach played early, but it was more White than anything else that I know.
Hmm.
That I know. I think he got benched right before that. That the game before that. Now I think about it, because I think I remember discussing that in my preview, like who was gonna like they were they gonna play
Hmm.
Zach or Mike White. No, been a while.
Well, I mean, we got to a lot of stuff today.
Yeah,
It's been real fun. I'll tell you what. It has been a fun conversation. We did have to go down the list and kind of look at the 53-man roster, and we
yeah,
kind of had to talk about some preseason stuff. But overall, I'd say it was a pretty fun stream.
I agree.
And everybody in here was really active in the
Yeah, it's
chat.
been
So
live.
that's always fun. We're busy up here fighting about Jamal Adams. We can't. I'm kidding. But no, my hat's not referring to Super Bowl 49. You know, when I bought this was everybody was doing the let Russ cook thing. So I started buying the brother damn ball hats because that's just my personal philosophy is have a run game and a great defense and nobody can beat you. It'll be close. It'll be close.
I disagree.
Okay. All right. Let's
I
start here.
disagree. I think that was true up
10
until like
years ago.
2018-19. I think 18-19 is when the rules begin to shift in terms of what you could and could not do on defense, especially from a cornerback perspective. I think given that the rules are slanted toward they started calling roughing the passer more, I think
That is so
if
true.
you're a really
Yeah.
good defense, you're just gonna get flagged. Like, just have you seen that hit on man, why am I blanking on the guy? It was like a textbook tackle. Is it Kwan Alexander from the Steelers? Something like that. It was a
I think
textbook
I
tackle
did.
viral
I
video,
think I did.
and they like fined the guy 40 grand. And I'm
Did you
like,
hear how much they make per preseason game too?
uh-uh,
I heard it was like less than he got fined.
it's terrible.
Could you
Like he
imagine
took
that?
a L.
Having to pay to play.
Yes, literally for a preseason game that you probably as a veteran don't want to play in anyway.
Yeah, that
That's
was
terrible.
now imagine being like an undrafted free agent getting fined $40,000. You're like,
Yeah,
well, what
that's
am I
the
supposed to do?
salary for the year.
Exactly. I mean, if I don't make the team, yeah, that's my salary for the year.
Yes.
I don't know how much the undrafted free agents make if they don't make the team. Like
It's
before,
not public.
yeah. So I don't
It's
know.
a public. But yeah, that's why I disagree with you. In general, I think I was with you, but I just think things have changed too much. Oh, we got one question in the chat.
Bro, you obviously have not been watching this preseason CarCast. Jake Bobo, pretty sure.
That was not his first touchdown.
I'm pretty
Was
sure
it?
he's caught his third.
Yeah,
I think he's had a touchdown a game, if I'm not
I'm
mistaken.
pretty sure it's been that because I just saw Top Billings do like a film breakdown, and now not all of those were touchdowns, but maybe it was his first.
So is that top villain guy? Is he a Seahawks fan? Because
No,
he seems like it when I watch Seahawks videos.
Now,
That's why I always have kind of
now he
wondered.
covers the team because Seahawks. Because financially, if you look at his other views, it's financially beneficial for him to cover the Seahawks. So he covers the Seahawks team, but his
Oh,
team has actually changed. So I've watched him over the years. Used to be a huge Ravens guy. Now all of a sudden he's on the Eagles bandwagon. He just
oh
calls
no.
himself Mid Atlantic Mert. So I guess he just picks a team from the Mid Atlantic and like rolls with it. But so Jen was asking about Ehlers. Guess we didn't talk about him, huh? He played a no, he didn't play a lot
I
against the
don't like him.
Really?
Go ahead. Tell me what you think about him. I don't like him.
Um, he's fun. Would I want him like okay, so like I'm fine with him on the practice squad, but just like have another guy who can play for real. Because like he's obviously not gonna be able to play for real, but like he's really funny. It's like a Tim Tebow of the
But not as
preseason.
good. He's a little bit better thrower than Tim Tebow, but a little bit worse runner than Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
So he's like more of an average Tim Tebow.
yeah,
I noticed that last game because I was calling him Tebow against the Vikings.
yeah.
You remember that touchdown pass against the Vikings? It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen to Landers. That was a question. You
Well,
think
wait, no, that
Landers
was
makes it?
Cowboys, right? Cowboys,
I thought it
because
was
because the touchdown he got an interception in the Packers game, so it was the Cowboys.
no the Vikings game. I meant sorry. He
Oh,
threw
Vikings.
that
Okay.
one where he just threw it up and it should have been an
And
interception.
yeah, oh
And then
yeah, and Matt Landers.
I think Landers will make the practice squad. I think he'll be able to sneak past waivers. That was one that I forgot to say.
I agree.
Yeah, you guys. I just
Yeah,
can't.
he's entertaining. The guy's entertaining. Like, because if there was okay, the Packers game was really boring, but it was really entertaining the last 2 minutes. I just, you know, yeah, for preseason, I love him, but like, I wouldn't want him on like the roster for real
No, but
because he doesn't have any promise.
he will be that emergency backup, and
I
I
don't
think that
know.
that game will go.
I don't
You have to
know
have. Who do you think they bring in?
anybody else. For from what I understand, Bob Condona before the preseason. So maybe the preseason changes it. Before the preseason, Bob Condona reported that they were kind of looking to upgrade from Ehlers at that position, that they didn't like what they were seeing. But it
Like,
seems like he's kind of a gamer. So in the preseason, if he stays, it's because of the preseason.
do you bring Luton back?
No,
Is
I just
that
think they find another rookie, like another guy, anybody. I just
maybe
think
right?
they didn't like his arm strength.
Maybe right-handed. I can't stand watching left-handed quarterbacks. Shout out to all the 49ers fans in here who love Steve Young. I cannot stand watching left-handed quarterbacks. It kills me to watch them. I'm like, I think my screen's mirrored. I think there's something wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there. So I'm fine with literally anybody else. Like I don't really care. Um,
If he's in the game, there's a problem. I think that's what we're both kind of
I
saying.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, especially because I think like he was only mobile. Like, what he did would only work against second and third stringers. Like it wouldn't work against any real NFL defense. Head would
It
just look
would be
bad.
funny to see him on like the Cardinals or something though, just to
That'd
see
be
how he
great.
would do
The
against you.
Cardinals are about to become like Seahawk reject 1-on-1 because like they already got LJ Collier over there. Didn't they take somebody else? I thought they had somebody else over there.
They're
Um,
usually right behind us in the standings.
they're about to be. Did you see
Yeah,
they cut Colt McCoy?
yeah, and they traded for Dobbs.
I
So,
haven't seen worse. I haven't seen a more blatant attempt at tanking since the Browns went 0-16.
would you agree that Locke improved? Yes, I 100%. I think Locke has improved. Um, there was that one pass though where that should have been a pick six against the Packers. There was that. Oh, you don't think he's improved from last offseason?
Yeah, but last offseason was bad. But the more preseason reps he played, the more I saw.
The flaws.
Well, yeah, like he threw off his back foot a lot and did a lot of like fade right. Like that's still some of the same stuff he did with Denver. So in some ways, yes, but in other ways, I think he's just always going to be the same guy. I think he's like Jimmy G, right? Like Jimmy, sorry for Niners fans, but like you could count on like a turnover, right? A fumble interception, you could kind of just hold your breath. It's kind of coming. I think Drew Lock's always going to be that guy. I don't know if he'll ever get that out of his game.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, because every time he's on that field, you think, okay, here comes an interception,
Yeah,
or here comes a fumble, which he's protected the ball a little bit. I'll say a lot better than last preseason, because last preseason he was just slinging it around, throwing like 6 intercept. I know it wasn't
he
six,
got
but
lucky.
it seemed like against the Cowboys last preseason, that
He
was his time. Everybody's thinking, okay, here comes Lock. He's gonna tear it up. Nope.
he got lucky a few times though. I think he should have thrown at least 1 to 2 interceptions per game.
Oh,
Because
this
like
season
even that JSN where he almost caught that incredible one-handed catch, like that was a
that
bad
was
pass.
that was JSN's. JSN should have been credited with a
Yeah,
negative interception there. Yeah, that was a terrible throw.
terrible throw. So like there's always like he's gotten lucky this preseason. So I get why people say he's improved because he has. There are some. His pocket presence is much better. His footwork is much more like uh, consistent. I'll say that consistent with his upper body. And but the decision making it's better, but like maybe by like 20%.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is like he's. I've said this before. He's like a Brett Favre, but without
The
the
arm.
good side of Brett Favre.
Yeah.
He's. Um. Anyways, guys, I think we're about to get out of here. I'm so sorry for taking all your time.
Yeah.
Last question: how many sacks will Mosu have this year? I think 11.
Okay. I'm gonna say at least 10, but it could go to 13 depending upon if other teams like if Boye is Boye and teams don't have to double team Nuosu, then he's going to eat. So I could say he could get up to 13 in my opinion. It wouldn't surprise me if the guy had 13, but if it ends up tailing off and Boye isn't consistent with the pass rush ability, because that's kind of ebbed and flowed, then maybe he gets more than he had last year. Maybe it's just 10 or 11.
Boy, I'm that's one guy after this preseason. I'm high on Boye. Like that's I hope he can bring that. I really hope he can bring that because he
It's the
had like
pass rush I'm looking for because the pass rush is inconsistent. The run game is some of super elite, like top of the league run defense, but the pass rush he's still growing. But
in the batted passes he had. That's what that excited me more than anything was
yeah,
to see he had like 4 batted passes in the first half against the
definitely.
Cowboys, and it was
But
against
better
Cooper Rush.
quarterbacks will throw a better ball.
Oh yeah, yeah for
So
sure. But he's getting his hands up, and then that one of them wasn't even a batted pass. He just got his hand on the ball when the quarterback
true,
had his arm cocked back. So
true.
that's just thinking instead of. But anyways,
Yeah. All right,
thanks.
guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry I took so much of your time. I
That
really
was fun.
appreciate it.
That was fun. We covered a lot, so it's good stuff. Always fun to talk Hawks. Thanks for everybody for hopping in the chat. Um, yeah, thanks Joe for having me on, and until next time.
Yeah, thank you everybody. All right, later.